Welcome to the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Kevin Rogers with you, and we are joined by race car driver Kenny Wallace. A nice treat here today as we look ahead to the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte on Sunday night. And Kenny, it's good to talk to you. 904 races on the NASCAR circuit. You're still driving, even doing dirt races. So you're still staying active right now, even though you're not on the NASCAR circuit anymore.
You know, Kevin, one wonders how in the hell am I still in the game? And the fans keep me in the game. You know, we got a great YouTube channel. We talk about some of the most controversial subjects. And I guess that still comes out of me after 15 years with NASCAR on Fox. You know, we were, on Fox TV for 15 years. But, boy, I just got tired of that traveling. Got tired of that airport and, rental cars and hotels. So, we live in Arnold, Missouri right now, right outside of St. Louis, and we're still racing our dirt car all over America. We start out in Yuma, Arizona in January, over in Florida. And as you know, dirt racing has been growing because of Kyle Larson, who is now our superstar and our NASCAR champion. So we're having a good time. I'm staying young. And thanks for having me on your show.
Well, Kenny, no problem. It's a great segue to get into Kyle Larson. He's one of the favorites for Sunday's race in Charlotte, along with Kyle Busch. And last year, when the race happened in Charlotte, the Coca-Cola 600, it went Larson, Busch, Elliott. Those are the three favorites going into this race. So who do you see coming out on top if you had the choice of those three drivers?
Well, the Coke 600 is about man and machine. When I raced there, my butt hurt after that race. 600 miles, 5 hours. When we look at NASCAR, we look at stages, where we take a reset to give the young kids a break, go get a beer, go to the bathroom. Boy, for this one, you better have a 24-pack. It's about man and machine. As long as people know that, then the race becomes fun. Whose car's going to last? Who's not going to make a mistake on pit road? And most importantly, what driver is in good shape? What driver keeps, the best focus level? And what driver changes with that racetrack? As we know, this Coke 600 starts out in the day, goes into the dusk, goes into the nighttime. So these cars, the way they handle, they're going to change like 3 and 4 times. They're going to be real slippery and slow in the day. They're going to pick up a little more speed. Then they're going to get looser at night. So there's a lot of challenges in this race. And that's why we got to watch. And now, as you mentioned, the Kyles, as the new joke is, Kyle Larson, Kyle Busch, those are ones to watch. But this race has, in the past, been decided on fuel mileage, and we have seen some surprise winners.
Now, what about a guy like Kevin Harvick? He's a veteran. 3 wins on this track. He and Martin Truex actually have the most wins on this track among the active drivers with 3. But Harvick last won in 2014 here, Kenny, and he's finished 10th the last 2 years. You think that he, with his experience, can get over the hump here in Charlotte?
So Kevin Harvick is a great man. Spends a lot of time with his son, Keelan. He's a changed man, but he's still Kevin Harvick. He's in great shape. He works out constantly, eats good. He's chiseled out. I agree with you, and I like that question. Do not count Kevin Harvick out because he will sneak up on you like a snake. He finished second at Richmond. It looked like the Kevin Harvick of old. I tell you what, I got to agree with you. That's a driver to not count out because he's in good shape. He's wise. And he can get it done.
Now, what about Denny Hamlin? No wins, Kenny, at this course, which is unbelievable. He has no wins in 30 races at Charlotte. How does he turn it around? Or actually, before you answer the question, why has he struggled so much at this course?
There are racetracks that drivers don't show up at. I'm 58 years old, and if you watch the NFL, National Football League, I'm a St. Louis boy, and I always wondered why Kansas City Chiefs and the Oakland Raiders at those days, now they're there in Vegas, but those guys were always a show. And it's like, why? This phenomenon happens in sports. So your question, why does Denny Hamlin not show up at Charlotte? It's one of those deals. It's voodoo. However, he does run good there. He just hasn't closed the deal. I wouldn't blame it on him. He can show up. Denny Hamlin is in the news right now. Denny Hamlin and the GOAT of basketball, Michael Jordan, they have teamed up. They're drivers. He's a team owner now. Now, that's where it gets confusing. Denny Hamlin drives that number 11 FedEx car, but Denny Hamlin is an owner now. He owns Kurt Busch's car and Bubba Wallace. So he's got a lot going on, but he's a great athlete. A lot of these athletes now are into sports psychology. They are able to create controversy and still show up and hit a home run. So I wouldn't count Denny Hamlin out. He's in the news right now. He's upset with what happened at the All-Star race last week in Texas. He can show up, and it seems like Denny's the one that thrives on controversy. So he's all jacked up on Mountain Dew, as the movie would say right now. So watch him go.
I have a couple names here in the middle as far as odds, and I want your thoughts on who could maybe come out on top when you get through the favorites, Kenny. I look at Eric Jones, 70-1. Bubba Wallace, who you mentioned, 70-1. Brad Keselowski, who's won here twice. He's at 80-1. Austin Dillon at 50-1. Any of those names maybe stick out to you that could pull the upset this week?
Well, it's hard to believe that Keselowski would be considered an upset, but that shows you are only as good as the horse you ride. So Brad Keselowski's he's a champion. However, he left Penske Racing, which is one of the greatest race teams in the history of all motorsports, even the Indy 500. But he went to Roush Fenway Keselowski now. It's RFK. So he's considered a dark horse because he's not with a team that has shown up very much lately. However, they're doing better little by little. Keselowski was hired to turn that team around because Brad is wise. He's a businessman. I would say that would be my choice for the dark horse. Second would be Austin Dillon. Kid's in good shape. He's feisty. His grandpa is Richard Childress. If we remember, Richard Childress owned the late, great black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt Sr., a lot of heritage there. So, Eric Jones would be third, and then Bubba Wallace would be fourth. The reason Bubba Wallace would be fourth in my mind, boy, you talk about a tough year. He's had one. And, I would – now, listen, anybody can shock anybody, like the horse race, we just had. I mean, that was the biggest shock in sports in a long time. So, that would be an order for me. It would be Keselowski, Austin Dillon, Eric Jones, then Bubba.
What about Chase Elliott, Kenny, that he struggled at Kansas a few weeks ago? He's right now tops in points. I mean, we're still early in the season, but what do you think about him now rebounding at Charlotte?
Ladies' man, all the girls love Chase because he's not married yet. But yeah, he's a champion. 2 years ago, he won the NASCAR championship. He's very consistent right now. He's not running bad. He just has not won yet. He's like a baseball team that's playing 500 right now. They're in the race. They're just not leading the division. So Chase, you can't go against him, and here's why: because he's with a great team right now, Hendrick Motorsport. They'll figure it out at any moment. They got probably the best engineers in NASCAR right now. So when we look at NASCAR racing, it's why. Because I worked for NASCAR on Fox TV for 15 years, my producers always said, or my boss always says, tell me why. So I always go, and here's why. And here's why Chase Elliott can win. Because he's not running bad. He just hasn't won a lot yet. He's a champion. He's running good. And, hey, he's young. He's in good shape. It's a long race. And, the pit stops. Pit stops are a big thing right now in our sport. And here's why. Because we went to that one lug nut. In the past, NASCAR had 5 lug nuts. And they had that all figured out. This new car, this year. It's got one lug nut, and what's going on is the guys are taking that lug nut off, they're pulling the tire off, then they're hitting the gun to reverse it. And when they do, that nut is held on by a magnet, and the nut's been falling out. So pit stops have been taking these guys out of the race. So, don't make a mistake. Chase Elliott can win this 600.
So, in the end, Kenny, who is going to win this race on Sunday night in Charlotte?
I think Kyle Busch can win it, but another dark horse is this new car. The left rear tire has been blown out with no warning. I was just here at the St. Louis racetrack where June 5th will be the very first ever NASCAR Cup race. I went over there for a practice, and I was talking to the Ford engineer, the Toyota engineer, and the Chevrolet, and I said, why are the left rear tires blowing out? It's because these cars have independent suspension. If nobody's tires blow out, I think Kyle Busch can win this race. It's gonna be like we just talked about. The Kyles have the most speed. I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch. He's got speed. He chases the racetrack, and the dark horses are the unknowns. These pit stops, the left rear tires have been blown out. I'm gonna go with Kyle Busch.
Kenny Wallace, he has been around this game a long time. Race car driver, former TV analyst on Fox, 904 NASCAR starts, and he's got a YouTube channel, and he's still racing on the dirt tracks. You're still an active guy, Kenny, so you look good, and I appreciate all the time and the analysis for the race on Sunday.
Kevin, you're a good man. Thank you for having me on, brother.
That is Kenny Wallace. I am Kevin Rogers. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And as always, best of luck with your bets.